It's Baxi's musical podcast.
Resistance is useless!
Hey everybody, it's Bax, and welcome back to Baxi's musical podcast. You know, I don't always get a chance to interview somebody more than once, but when it happens, I'm usually happy to do it because one, it's kind of cool, and then two, I really like doing it. And when that interview is offered without me having to beg for a second chance to get things right, then how can I possibly say no? And how could I possibly say no if that guy happens to be Waybill from the Tubes? So about a year ago, I talked to Waybill from the Tubes, and we talked about all kinds of stuff, from going fishing with John Candy on SCTV as Gil Fisher, the fishing musician, to producing such great hits like Talk to You Later, White Punks on Dope, What Do You Want from Life, and She's a Beauty. We talked about all sorts of things, including some things that hadn't yet been made public, like them going on tour with the B-52s and then going to celebrate their 40th anniversary from their 1981 album, The Completion Backward Principle, in the middle of a pandemic. This year, they are, in fact, going on tour with the B-52s. They're also going on tour to celebrate the 40th anniversary of their 1983 follow-up album, Outside Inside, which would have been the biggest hit of their career. The Tubes were, and still are for that matter, a legendary band that was known for not only those great hit singles, but also for their legendary stage shows. The Tubes didn't just stand there on stage and play the hits. They put on a full theatrical production. Their shows held nothing back. Costumes, set changes, dancers, you name it. It's what made the Tubes one of the most exciting live bands in history, but also one that had the songs to make those shows great. The Tubes are coming through New England in November. On the 3rd, they'll be at the Greenwich Odeon in Greenwich, Rhode Island. They'll also be at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts on November 6th. It's always great to catch up with actor, singer, songwriter, the great Waybill from the Tubes on Baxi's musical podcast.
Yeah, Mike.
There we go. Good to see you. How you been?
Good, man. How about you?
Really good. I'm glad you took some time to join me today. I know you got a lot going on right now.
I'm just kind of in between gigs right now.
Yeah.
Trying to keep my shit together, basically.
I understand. But this is a big year for you guys. I know this happens to be the 40th anniversary of the cult classic, ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains, a landmark cinematic triumph.
Right.
Where you played Lou Corpse amongst the cast of an all-star cast of favorites.
I mean, Ray Winston has become a huge star. Diane Lane's a huge star. Laura Dern is a huge star. Steve Jones has got a big show here in LA on the radio, Jones' Jukebox. I don't know whatever happened to Paul Simonon or Paul Cook.
Paul Cook still plays around. He still plays every now and then.
He does?
Yeah, he does. But man, what an artistic achievement that film was.
Boy, I mean, but that never got released, you know?
Yeah, but a cult classic.
Yeah, it's funny that I'm involved in all three of the biggest cult classics: Rocky Horror Show, Xanadu,
yep,
and ladies and gentlemen, The Fabulous Stains. And
unbelievable. So last time we talked, it was about a year ago, last August, and you told me at the time that there was this possibility that the Tubes are going to be touring with the B-52s for their final tour. And I don't know if you were supposed to let that out at the time, or this is just one of those situations where nobody tells Waybill what to do.
No, and it has happened. We played Seattle with them. Upcoming, we have 3 nights in San Francisco with them at the Masonic Auditorium. And I guess I thought we were going to do the whole tour, but it turns out they're using Casey and the Sunshine Band for a number of the other dates.
So it's one or the other.
Yeah. And we had a great time in Seattle. It was really cool, and they were great. And it was called what? The Macaw Hall. It was like a 4,000 seater.
Wow.
And Masonic, I think, is 2,700, and we're doing 3 nights sold out. So it's cool. It's really cool. And the latest, okay, the latest that hasn't been announced yet. like we did last August. I have a late breaking news item. In July of next summer, in the UK, in England, Wales, and Scotland, will be supporting the Hollywood Vampires.
Oh, no kidding. That's very cool.
Huge. Johnny Depp,
Alice
Alice,
Cooper, right?
and Joe Perry,
Wow.
and there's another guitar player, I can't remember his name, Tom something, and then the Alice's bass player and Alice's drummer, and we're doing, I think, 5 or 6 shows with them in the UK, and hopefully more. It's all, we're all setting it up. But we've already accepted the guy who booked us for 2017 when we went over and opened for Alice, a friend at AEG London. He wrote me an email and he said, "Are you guys interested in maybe supporting Hollywood Vampires?" And I just, are you kidding me? Johnny Depp has 28 million Instagram followers. I mean, can he play? Who cares?
The thing is, he can play. He's actually very good.
Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen their videos and I've gone to their website and he's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a big guitar world. I think there's going to be he and Joe and this other guy. There's 3 lead guitar players and a rhythm player and a bass player. And so it's going to be world of guitars.
Yeah. I mean, between the B-52s and those guys, I mean, it's going to be fantastic.
It's gonna, and the way the UK loves that tabloid media after the whole thing with Johnny Depp. Oh, it's gonna be insanity.
Absolutely.
And we're playing 25,000 seaters.
Just keep your dog off his bed. That's all he cares about.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not bringing my dog. My dog's at the vet right now getting her teeth cleaned.
Oh, good. Very good. So, I mean, how has it been to play with the B-52s? I mean, I know that this is their final tour, and you're all kind of about the same age group.
Yeah.
I mean, have you told them that nobody likes a quitter?
I don't understand. I mean, they had a great show. I don't understand why maybe this is only the first of the farewell tours.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kiss. They're just going to go on and on and on and on. But they have a good show and they have a lot of production and they seem to be singing well. There's not a problem. I don't get it, but it was fun. It was fun.
As far as the tubes go, how much has the live show changed over the years? Obviously, when you guys first started off, it was a very theatrical event. I mean, you're wearing the 2-foot shoes and it's Quaalude and Johnny Bugger and all these. How much has it changed over the years?
I'm still wearing the shoes. I'm still wearing they're only 18 inches, but I'm still wearing the shoes. I'm still doing characters. We don't have 35 people on the road like we used to on the first tour and with 9 dancers and every guy in the crew had to be some kind of character in the show. And so now we're a 5-man band. And we travel with 6 or 7, and it's fun. I still do a costume changes. We still play all those songs. We try to keep trying to change the show. Like this time we're doing outside inside. We're doing the whole album top to bottom. And the tour before was Completion Backward Principle. We did the whole album top to bottom. And before that it was like a Mondo Pulp tour, and it was like a tribute to Quentin Tarantino and Pulp Fiction, our favorite movie. And before that, it was Satyricon tour with Fellini. And I mean, it's just we kind of pick a theme, for each show, and we kind of try to make it different. We throw in different songs, and of course, we have to play the. What do you want from life, and White Books on Dope, and Talk Here, and She's a Beauty, and we have a core of maybe 6 or 8 songs we play every time. But then the other 10 or 12, we mix in different stuff every time.
See, and I think that's so great because, concert tickets are not cheap anymore. Like if you're going to spend $5,000 for floor seats to see Bruce Springsteen, at least he's going to give you a show. But how many times have you been to a concert where the singer's got his back to the audience and not really paying attention, you're really not getting any kind of showmanship whatsoever. That has never been the case with you guys, ever.
No, no. I mean, I love it. I love the stage. I love to see I love to give the joy and receive the joy. And I like playing little clubs better actually than, 25,000 seaters, although it's more exciting, but I can't see anybody. I can't see the front row,
Right.
and I can see the people just with their eyes glittering and going, "Oh my God," their mouth hanging open.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's definitely got more of an impact when you're in a smaller theater. Like you guys are coming to the Cabot Theater in Beverly on the 6th of
right,
November, and even the Greenwich Odeon in Rhode Island on the 3rd. Those are not big venues, but it is the kind of thing where the crowd really feels like they're a part of the show.
yeah. Yeah, we've played the Odeum in Greenwich before, and that's a beautiful theater. I've
Yeah,
never played the Cabot Theater. We've never been to Beverly. We've been all around Boston and in Boston and Salisbury Beach and all around the area. But the Cabot Theater looks like I've looked at it on their
yeah,
website. It looks like a really nice, and which is perfect for us. Those kind of 1,200, 1,500 seaters, that's the perfect venue for us because there's the intimacy of the lower number of people, but there's usually a proscenium stage, a full-size stage, so we can hang our backdrop, and we can, I can run around all over the stage still, and so it's the best of both worlds. And
yeah. I was in high school when Outside Inside came out 40 years ago, and I don't like thinking in terms of 40-year intervals, but I'm sure I'm not sure you do either. But last time we talked, it was the 40th anniversary of the completion backward principle, and
right.
I was listening to both records the other day. The completion backward principle is a record I've always loved, and even though Outside Inside was the bigger selling record,
Oh.
I think one of the best songs on that album was not necessarily "She's a Beauty." There's something about the Wild Women of Wongo that I freaking love. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because it's got like a Frank Zappa feel to it, or whatever. But there's just something about that song. I just think it's just so much fun.
It's real. I love doing it. I love that song. Prairie Prince wrote the lyrics to that song, and they're so whacked out. And from the foggy, woggy banks of the Limpopo River, the sound of female ecstasy, I shiver. And it's funny. We've been watching this documentary about architectural design on. I think it's on Apple Plus. I'm not sure. It's called Home, and they have every week they have a new architectural design or an architect that designed this unbelievable. One of them was this woman in Bali who builds these 5-story things out of all bamboo. It's
Right.
unbelievable. And the last one we saw, which I was just stunned, was this person who built a house in South Africa on the Limpopo River, and they didn't want to disturb any of the jungle, so they built this house in between trees. Like one tree grows right up through the middle of the house, and they didn't touch a bush or a tree or cut down anything. They made this house designed in a little valley around all these trees and a creek that runs down to the Limpopo River. So I thought that was interesting. That the Limpopo River really exists. You know?
I love that song, and both those records are really great, and obviously David Foster produced both those records. But the difference
Yeah.
between the two, and I find this really interesting, and I don't know how the rest of the guys in the band must have felt about this, but with completion backward principle, you had a couple of outside musicians come in, but for outside
Mhm.
inside, you had nearly 40 different musicians and engineers popping in and out of that thing.
Yeah.
You guys were all capable musicians and all good songwriters. That had to kind of sit oddly when all these things are being brought in.
It did actually, and it kind of precipitated us breaking up for a few years. Because Steve Lukather and David and I wrote "Talk to You Later," and the band was a little tweaked, because here we wrote this great song, and we didn't even tell them, and but they ended up loving it, and then we did it again on "She's a Beauty." The three of us wrote "She's a Beauty," and that's become a big hit. And then when we went to do the third record with David, he said, he doesn't have a lot of détente. He's a brilliant producer and arranger, but and I don't know if you saw the documentary about Chicago, about what happened to the guys in Chicago with the same with Peter Cetera and them kind of alienating the rest of the band, and
right.
The band, although they went ahead and made that record that they didn't want to make, and it sold 7 million records. Well, we didn't. He said, let's do the third record, and me and Steve and Fee are going to write 4 songs, not just one, but 4 of them. So we'll have a follow-up single, and you guys can do whatever the hell fucking else you want to do. You can have the whole side 2, you can produce it, you can write it, I don't care what you do. And the band just kind of went, that's a little too much. And although I was saying, let's do this. I think, swallow your pride for a second and let's have a billion-selling record. And they went, no, this doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right. And we didn't do it. Yeah. Whereas Chicago went ahead and did it and sold 7 million records. And then they bailed. So, and I still have a good relationship with David. I see him every now and then here in LA. So, I mean, I don't regret it. That's just the way things went,
Yeah.
And we broke up for a while, and then we got back together again. And from a 7-man band, we went to a 5-man band because Mike Cotton moved to New York, started getting graphic design jobs for Vegas and Bette Midler and all, Cher. And he didn't want to go back to touring. And Bill got a divorce and then married a woman who said, "You're not going on tour. That's it. That's it for you." And so he couldn't go on tour. And so he teaches now. He lives in Northern California.
Yeah.
And he's doing well. And so we got back together with just 5 of us. And well, at that point, Vince had joined the Grateful Dead.
Right.
He replaced Brett Myland or one of their dead keyboard players. They had so damn many. And then so we had a different keyboard player, Dave, who's still with us. And so we're still a 5-man band, 4 original members, and Dave still. And we've gosh, it's been another 20 years, 27 years of the second time around. So, I mean, we got together in 72.
Wow.
So this 50 years, we got together 50 years ago.
I've done a bunch of interviews with bands and artists who have been in long-term situations with other musicians. And to me, it says a lot about the individuals in a band if you can continue to work productively for 50 years. I mean, it's hard to work in any partnership, never mind 4 guys. I mean, it's amazing that you're able to do it that long because, people change and their priorities, differ over the course of years. I mean, it's really remarkable that you're talking in 50-year terms here.
I know, it's crazy. And everybody's got a family, and we've got friends, and you've got children and wives and dogs, and we all live in a different city now, and I kind of coordinate everybody when we get gig offers. I kind of coordinate, okay, well, what airport do you want to fly out of? What airport do you want to fly out of? You're flying out of San Francisco, you're flying out of San Jose, you're flying out of LA, you're flying out of, and try to coordinate everybody to meet kind of a relatively the same time somewhere.
Right.
One thing we all agree on, though, we're not getting back in the bus. Okay, we're not. We used to get in the bus in like March or April and stay out the entire year and not come home until like Thanksgiving. And oh, it was so. The only time we get in the bus, and actually, it's not a bus. Like when we go to the UK this time to do a tour with the Vampires, we'll get like one of those big Mercedes splitter vans that like seat 8, and then in the back there's a big cargo container.
Sure.
So we'll carry all our backline in the back, and we'll get a driver, and he'll drive to all the. England's not very big, and drive to all the cities around the UK, and maybe take it across the pond or the channel, I should say, to Germany and Holland and whatever over there too.
When you guys were starting out, and even around the time of White Punks on Dope, it's such a theatrical production back then that I have to believe that it didn't come cheap to produce a show like that. So at what point does either a record company or management say, hey, you know what, we got to scale this back a little bit, so maybe you do less dates, maybe there's less transportation, maybe there's less perks along the way? Did that had to have happened at least a couple of times over the years?
Oh yeah. We in those early days, I think we had our first tour, we had 5 girl dancers and we had 3 male dancers. So we had 8 dancers, and we had 8 guys in the band. And Mingo Lewis was a percussionist that was playing with us then. And so we had 16 band members, and then and nobody wanted us to open for them. So we were headlining in small theaters because we had such an outrageous show. And then halfway through the tour, we'd run out of money. And then we call up the record company and go, we need a tour advance. They go, okay, when they gave us some more money. And then they gave us some more money. And then they said, okay, well, we'll give you some more money, but you've got to give this up, or you've got to give that up. Or so but for us, I mean, we always used to say to each other, are we gonna scale it way back and just be a regular band and have nothing, no visual, no theatrics? And we went, no, it's art. Art for art's sake was our theme.
Yeah.
It's for art's sake, and we're gonna do it. I don't care. And still, like I said, we still do it. I still wear the big shoes, and I still make 6 or 8 costume changes, and it's mostly only me now. Actually, I've incorporated my lovely wife to be Quaalude's nurse, and so she's got a slinky nurse outfit, and helps Quaalude onto the stage because he's getting a little feeble and having trouble walking in those shoes.
Well, I mean, I don't think I can walk 15 feet without orthotics and a comfortable pair of loafers or something, or sneakers or something. I need something.
Yeah. And it's been, actually, I've been, we haven't done a gig. Gosh, March of 2020, it shut down. We didn't do another gig until October of 21, like 18, 19 months. And then we did an East Coast tour, and then Omicron hit, and then the whole thing shut down again. And then we didn't play again until this year, until June of this year. We started back up, and we played in June and July and August. But after all that time, I kind of forgot to walk in those shoes, how to walk in those shoes. So I've had them braced up, and I'm walking around the house in them. And I've been going back to, I went back to yoga with my wife,
right?
Because my joints are just locking up on me. So I've been taking a yoga class, and I'm going to a trainer, and my trainer does a brutal workout. And then he goes, okay, get the shoes out. And so I'm in the gym and put the shoes on, he's helping me to get strong and stand up with my core, you know, and people are just going, what? uh, you know, I'm actually I'm even taking I'm seeing a vocal coach.
Really?
I mean, we've been singing for 50 years, and I'm singing a vocal coach, and he's really helped me to just learn how to relax everything and not strain your neck and your shoulders and breathe from your diaphragm and just not push so hard. I mean, we did a lot of high notes. David Foster loves the high notes. There's a lot of really high songs, and we don't want to lower everything, you know, a fifth or something.
Right.
So you recognize the song. So it's really been helping a lot. I've been seeing, his name is Bruce. I've been seeing him, and he's showing me how to just relax everything in your throat and not push so hard.
But that's kind of the thing, though. I mean, as a vocalist, I mean, you're basically it's a bunch of muscles that all need to kind of work in sync. It's no different than a professional athlete, having to to work out physically to be able to play, his
Yeah.
sport. It's very similar
Yeah.
to what a vocalist has to do. Otherwise, you wind up
Yeah.
sounding like a lot of these guys that the voice is just shot.
Yeah. Just gone,
Yeah.
right? And I was listening to, Tony Bennett the other day. Oh my, I mean, he's 90
Yeah.
and he's still got it. It's incredible, incredible. And I never had problems with my voice. I mean, I'm doing a book of my life. It's called Fee Waybill's Guide to an Unknown Trail, which is kind of what my life has been like. I
Yeah.
didn't know what's happening. I didn't, all I had was a dream, and I've tried to manifest it. And I was looking back through itineraries. When my mother died, we went to the house. That was 2004. And we went to the house, and she had like closets full of boxes of clippings and magazines and posters and articles, everything I'd ever done. So we took all this stuff home and started going through it, to cull it out, to try to make this kind of coffee table book. And I found itineraries where we were doing 10 in a row, 10 nights in a row of different cities, every night, different city, 10 in a row. And I don't know how I ever did it. And I just, the only thing I can think is, after 2 or 3 nights, I'd go to the acupuncturist, and we get into a city, I'd find an acupuncturist, and I'd go there and I go, I lost my voice again. And he'd stick the needles right in here, right into your vocal cords and right into your neck and all over, like a pincushion. And it was a miracle.
Yeah.
I'd walk out of there singing like a bird. And oh my God. And then I could do 3 or 4 more. And then I go back again. And then, I kind of, I never really had a problem. I've been really lucky. I've never had a problem with my voice. And now if we do 4 in a row, I'm pushing it,
Right. Have you used vocal coaches in the past?
I haven't. I actually, early on, I went to a speech therapist, and she kind of trained me how to use the hard palate of your mouth as a sounding board, like
Right.
a soundboard of a piano, to reflect sound and project better. But this guy that I'm seeing now is it's all about relaxation and breathing and not tensing up. He said, he said, and breath. He said there's 2 ways to get your vocal cords to vibrate. So either you can sing with, one way is called glottal singing, where you kind of force it and they kind of slam together. And the other way is with breath. It's called Bernoulli. And the breath kind of sucks. It's like a vacuum. It kind of sucks the cords together gently. And, we do exercises like sa, and the first the first note is preceded by breath, and it just everything stays relaxed, and you don't tense up your neck and your throat and all these muscles, and it's like a whole new world for me.
It's fascinating to hear you talk about this because after listening to completion backward principle and outside inside over the last couple of days, there's certain songs where I can hear your voice at a certain register that not everybody can hit, and you're either going to strain the shit out of your voice, or you have to work around it. And so, like, I can't imagine that without some training and control that you could sing "She's a Beauty" or "Sushi Girl" or or any of those songs. I mean, the way you were singing earlier in your career was not simple vocal work. I mean, these were challenging songs.
You're right, and they were. And the way I got away with it was it's a studio, and you're in a studio, and you sing for what, a half an hour, and you take a break, or you sing one line of a song. I remember the first time I sang with David Foster I sang Amnesia on the first album on Completion Backward Principle in 1980. There was no digital back then. This was all analog. We're singing on 24-track tape. So you can't there's no auto tune, no quantizing, there's no fixing it. You have to sing it perfect. And it took me a week to do one song.
Wow.
It took me a week to do it because he was such a perfectionist that I could not do it. I just never had been pushed like that before with any other producer, with Todd Rundgren or with Al Cooper or with Ken Scott or anybody. But you sing, you work on it, and you take a break and you have some water and you rest. But when you're doing a live show and you're doing 20 songs in a set, there's no sitting around and resting and drinking and taking a break and sitting back. You're doing bam, 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 then one song after another.
You never said to an audience, I'll be with you guys in a second.
Right. Well, let me just rest my vocal cords for a second. It's one, or I rush off the stage to change clothes or change costumes and then rush back. And then, no, you have to stay relaxed the whole time.
Yeah.
And we did a few shows already with the B-52s up north in Seattle, Portland area. And that was the first time I got to put this technique into practice, but I had only been seeing this guy once or twice. And since then, I've been 5, 6, 7 more lessons. So our next run is going to be at the end of the month. We're going to play Reno, and then we're going to play 3 nights in San Francisco with the B-52s. So I'll really have a chance to really put this into practice and try to, it's hard. I mean, sitting in a studio, just relaxing and doing scales and great. That's not a problem. It's just me and him. But when you're at the Masonic Auditorium and it's like 3,700 people, and you're trying to, oh my God, sing She's a Beauty. That's a different challenge.
When you were working on your solo album, Waybill Rides Again, and I know Richard Marx was a good friend and producing it with you,
and writing every song with me.
Yeah, but were you relying on the technology to get you at that point to sing on that record, or were you trying too hard not to do that because you're Fee Waybill after all?
The way we work is, I mean, he won't use auto tune. We don't use any of that type of fixing stuff. We won't do it. So what we do is I'll have the lyrics printed out, and he'll have a sheet of the lyrics printed out, and we'll just he'll say, okay, let's do it. And so I'll warm up, and then we'll sing through the song, and then he'll make notations as I sing through, and he goes, okay, do it again. So then I sing it again a second time, and he'll make more notations. Okay, do it again. And so I'll sing it maybe 5 times, and he'll notate what words are working and what words aren't working.
Right.
And what phrases aren't working. Okay, go back. So sing the 3rd line of the first verse again. And then it's called comping. And so then the technology we use is the digital technology. We'll have 5 tracks of vocals, and we'll have 5 tracks that are good, and each line will have so say the first line is from track 1, the second line is from track 2, and the third line is from track 3, and we'll edit all that on Pro Tools so that into one performance. It's 1, 2, and 3 all mixed up, and words mixed up from here to there and here to there, and we'll comp it all together, and it'll be one performance.
See, I have no problem with that. I guess there's a part of me that mistrusts somebody who has to rely on an auto tune to a certain degree. I mean, I can understand tweaks here and there. I realize it's a money saving technology for people because you don't have to spend like a week doing one song. But done badly, auto tune sounds awful.
Oh,
Awful.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I won't use it. I don't use it ever.
Good.
I don't know. And another thing that we really try to avoid is tracking stuff. A lot of bands do that. A lot of bands track and they play to a track, and we've never done that. And we really, there's maybe like one song we track is Wild Women of Longo, because they've got all those animal sounds in the back, and a big chorus of and so on and on the lords of Longo go. So for that song, we play the track, and we always sing and play with it also.
Right.
But we have all the animal sounds that we want in there in a live performance. So I'll sing that along to the track.
Is there any plans for the Tubes to record?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, we've got every once in a while. I mean, we've got actually, let's see, 1, 2, 4. We probably have 4 or 5 songs in the works.
Yeah.
That Roger sends me a track and I'll write lyrics in it. So I think eventually,
good,
it'll happen. Because once we get to like 6 or 8 or 10 tracks, we'll go, well, okay, so now let's go, because like I said, everybody lives in a different city. So everybody's got to fly in from somewhere to get together in a studio somewhere to record. So I think it'll probably happen, although I know Roger's working on his second solo album, and I began writing for my next solo project. And Richard's got a product coming out where he's got 20 songs coming out, 5 pop songs, 5 rock songs, 5 country songs, and 5 ballads on one package.
Wow.
And he's unbelievable. The guy he is the most driven person I have ever met in my life. And he has instilled that drive into me. And I really, I don't know ever how to thank him for it. And his kids too. I mean, I'm going to do a solo show in December here in Los Angeles, 2 shows. Fee Waybill Rides Again and Friends. I can't really say who the friends are. I can't advertise that.
Right.
But everybody knows it's going to be Richard and Richard's band. But one of his sons, Jesse's going to be my guitar player. And he wrote a couple of the songs on Richard's new product. And the other son, Lucas, is a keyboard player. And Brandon is a drummer, and he played on my record. And I mean, it's not like it's skipped a generation.
No.
His dad was really brilliant. His dad was a jazz keyboard player in Chicago. His name was Dick Marks. And that guy, I mean, he became, later in his career, he became a jingle writer. And he wrote Doublemint Gum jingle. He wrote My Dog's Better Than Your Dog. My Dog's Better Than Kennel Ration. He wrote that. He wrote all these jingles, and Richard really grew up singing jingles. And when we got to be friends, Richard and his mother and I sang a number of Doublemint Gum jingles. And So it didn't. Nobody. It didn't skip any generations in his family at all.
That's great. Well, listen, I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Again, the Tubes are coming to Rhode Island, the Greenwich Odeon in Greenwich, Rhode Island, and the Cabot Theater in Beverly, November 3rd and 6th. Fee, it's great to talk to you. Best of luck with the tour, and good to see you again.
Good to talk to you, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Fee.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
The Tubes are coming through New England in November on the 3rd. They'll be at the Greenwich Odeon in Greenwich, Rhode Island. They'll also be in the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Massachusetts on November 6th to play Outside Inside, their 1983 classic. Again, I appreciate you joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like it, share it, subscribe it, tell all your friends about it. You can also email me at bax@rock102.com. I'd love to know what you think. And thanks again for joining me on Baxi's Musical Podcast.